All right, learning goal 5. I can turn shapes based on a specific number of degrees. So that sounds very wordy. It will make sense by the time we're done with this, but go ahead and write it down in your math journal on a nice new piece of paper, and then move on with us. So there are 3 different ways that you can actually move a shape. And 2 of them are going to be new information to you, but you don't have to know them. I think they teach them in 6th grade even.
Yeah.
But one of them you do. So the first way is a flip. The second way is a slide. And their actions right now are sort of giving you a clue as to what it means. And the last one is a turn. So just briefly, I'm going to talk about the first 2. You don't have to write these down, but you certainly can if you want to. A flip, and Shadow wanted to come say hi, is when you just turn something over. So it would be like turning the pages in a book. It's just the mirror image. So in this case, and Shadow's making lots of noise right now.
Heard his name.
Yeah, he did. You just take it, flip it, it's the mirror image. So like what you would see as a reflection. That is one way to move a shape. So you're actually picking it up and moving it over. A slide, you don't ever lift it off the paper. You just move it in any direction. You're not rotating it. You're not changing it at all. You're not flipping it over. You're just moving it. So in that case, Shadow's picture was moving all over, but I never picked it up off the paper. Ooh, one more.
Now, this next one, this is one that we're going to talk about the rest of the time. And this is one that you're really going to want to focus on. So please make sure to write this one down. That a turn is basically where you're rotating around a point. So you're going to want to think about this x-axis and y-axis. And you'll probably want to jot this down here. Because you want to think about, like, we have this point right here, and we're going to be taking shapes and thinking about how to rotate them, depending on what direction. Oh, so a lot of times I like to refer back to it as like skateboarding, because many of our kids like to skateboard and snowboard, ski, all those kind of things. Even if you like to watch extreme sports, you can relate to this. So if you're thinking about a skateboarder, and if you say, okay, a skateboarder did a 180, what does that actually mean? Well, that means that instead of facing forward, they're now facing backwards. They're traveling 180 degrees. You might have heard of a 360, where they're doing a full rotation. So this just might help you relate it back to that a little bit.
Get him going, picking it up. Everybody picture it, here we go. Feel it.
So here we have our 0 degrees.
So this is like your starting point.
Yeah.
That 0 degrees.
And so a 180, once again, if our little skateboarder here turned and did a 180, he would now be facing the opposite direction. And keep on traveling, we have a 270, and then all the way back, full rotation would be back over in the same spot, 360.
Do you notice if we were to draw like an arc here and follow it all the way around, do you see what shape we would have made?
I know. Circle.
Circle. So you can see a circle. You can figure out the total degrees in a circle too, just based on what we've done.
Awesome.
All right, so here is an example. We've got this little circle here on our X and Y axis, and we need to rotate it around a point. And in this case, we are rotating it 90 degrees counterclockwise.
Ooh, what does counterclockwise mean?
Yeah. Oops. Here's a few quick vocab words for you. And if you write down clockwise and counterclockwise, and then if you just want to draw a little arrow to help you remember which direction that means. But clockwise just means you're going the direction that the hands on the clock move. So you are moving to the right. So this might end up backwards on the video. I'm not sure if I'm flipped in the video, but the way the hands on a clock move, that's the direction that you would be rotating. And then counterclockwise just is the opposite direction. So you would be moving to the left. So write those two words down and then draw the little arrow that helps you remember which direction that means. So back to our circle. If we are rotating 90 degrees counterclockwise, so counterclockwise is the opposite ways, I would, 90 degrees is, we've got 0. This is, if you notice, a right angle. So 90 degrees. I'm just moving it this way. Now you notice my circle didn't end up touching the point. There was this gap here. That gap is still there. Okay, it's just like it's traveling around a circle. Okay, so that would be one example of how you would rotate it by a certain number of degrees. So this one's you.
All right. So
same thing.
Almost, yeah. So now we're just going clockwise instead of counterclockwise. So now we're going to think about moving 90 degrees. Once again, you can think about this right angle right here. And now our circle will be ending up over here. That's all. So,
not so bad.
That is what you want to think about. This is me again.
Yep.
So you're going to try this one. We have a different shape here. And once again, you're going to want to take a moment to draw in your X and Y axis. So you have the same lines right here. And now we're going to think about, well, we have to rotate our star 180 degrees. And we want to think about clockwise too. So going in this direction like a minute hand on a clock.
Yep.
Another thing you want to think about, I love this, we have our little finger here. Just to help us remember that we're going to be rotating around this point here.
Yeah, and you would think of like your finger is pushing down on that and not lifting up, just enough where you could move the star, but you're not ever going to really lift it off that point.
Yes. So,
pause and try it?
Oh yeah, pause and try. Don't peek yet.
That doesn't give too much away.
All right. So, now that you have tried to figure out where your little shape should end up, let's take a peek. So our star, if we're rotating 180 degrees clockwise, here's 90 degrees, and now another 90 degrees. We should end up right here. So hopefully you have something that looks similar to this.
Yep. All right. And now it is your turn. So already we have 2 problems here for you to solve. Draw them in, and do you want them to draw the original shape or just the new shape?
I think it's nice to see originally where it started, especially when you're in your discussion
They could even
groups.
get fancy, and they can make them different colors. Make this one color, and then your new one the other color.
Love it.
Ooh, you could get highlighter happy. My kids love highlighters. Okay. Anyways, somehow show which one's the original and which one's the new one. So start with this arrow, and then you are going to be rotating that arrow 90 degrees clockwise. And remember, this little finger here is to help you remember. You can put your little finger on there and make sure that it stays there. And then the second one, rotate this triangle 270 degrees clockwise. Now watch where my little finger ends up.
Counter.
Oh, counterclockwise. Oh, heavens. Yeah. Don't do what I said. Do what this says. So look at where our finger is. It's on this point, and there's this gap here. So when you are rotating this triangle 270 degrees counterclockwise, make sure that you factor in that little gap, because that would also be rotating with the triangle. So keep that in mind. And then we will go over these tomorrow in your group. So good luck.